Good evening, one and all. This is a review, if you like, of a board game called Fireteam Zero. Now this game is a co-op board game, so technically one person could play it, but it is meant for 2 to 4 people. It came out via Kickstarter late last year in America, January this year, if you're in Europe and whatnot. Now this is just the main game I'm looking at. This isn't any of the expansion because they're not out to anyone yet. Just the base game. So, just zoom out a bit there, and if we can see the box, pretty big. Oh god, it's a big box of stuff. So if I just lift it up here and just put that there, it's about $80 in the US, and then I think that's probably about 50 quid, something like that, possibly, not sure. But it's worth the price, definitely worth the price. Though I got it through Kickstarter with all the bits, so whatever the shipping is to anywhere that's not in America might be a lot more. So, what you get inside to start with, the mission briefing. This will give you background on the different operations. Oops. Without dropping it. In here you've got 9 missions, effectively 3 operations with 3 acts each, and going through each of the different monster families. You've got Children of Typhon, then a boss at the end of the 3rd act, the Infested, Mother at Worms at the 3rd act of that, and the Fetch. With the Harvester at the end of that act. And then a bit of advertising with the novels. Probably have to download them, I'd imagine. So that's that. And if I can get it out. Here we have the rule book. Can I zoom out anymore? No? Okay. So here's the rule book. All in colour. First page gives you a lot of background. Second page tells you obviously what's in it, the monster families, the heroes, everything else, the dice, the tokens, the cards, the boards, how to play, how you attack, how you move, how monsters move and attack. Right, one thing here is I'll just go through some of the. Just move the camera over a little bit. I apologise for this. Anyway, it's all professional, people. It's all professional. Now, in most rule books, you've got pictures telling you what the different cards or stat sheets or whatnot do. Now, if you notice on here, it just circles it. That's one of the bad things about this rule book. It doesn't specifically show you what you need to know effectively. It doesn't say on the cards A, B, C, D or 1, 2, 3 and list down what each thing does. It takes a little bit to get used to looking through it, but once you've looked through it, you get what the stuff does and it's easy enough to work out. But I would have liked to have a few more pages to know what's going on, but it's easy enough to know once you've got into it. And back gives you details on the spawn points, the specialists, the game terms. There's quite a lot, but realistically it's easy enough to know what is what. And then the team details of who made the game, thanking the Kickstarter backers and whatnot. And on the back shows you the terrain effects and the sequence of play, which it does on the inside. Next we have boards. There are quite a lot. Just zoom out a little bit. There are quite a lot for different areas, and they're both double-sided. This one's kind of in a base or a hospital, and then the other side it's kind of like woodland with some sheds. This one's got a river in the centre, and then another office or hospital on this side. Woodland on this side. Office, I'd say, on this side. Again, woodland. Either office or other building. Village on this one, and then sort of like a mine area, another mine, and then a city sort of area. Oop. Another city sort of area, and another mine, and finally another office, city and whatnot area, and then another mine. So that's how many terrain pieces we've got, board pieces I should say. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got eight boards with 2 sides on each, so that's 16 sides. Not too bad. This box I'll get onto in a minute. This is basically the game board playing against you. So we've got the twists, which usually help the enemies, the monsters as it were, and as it goes up and it gets to 4, 7, 10 and 13, draw twist cards to see what ill affects the players. Soundtrack, which gives you a little bit of background music for each of the missions, and a briefing, debriefing and operation start of each mission, which is quite nice. A load of cards, one for each of the 4 classes you can play as. You've got the marksman, which is all about range combat. You have the close combat, which is all about melee with a slight bit of short range shooting. You have the demolition, which strangely enough is also the medic. Takes you apart and puts you back together again. And finally we have, if I can get it out, the leader, which supports the team and has got a bit of range to it. And we also have objective cards, which are for the different missions. Usually a mission is 2 or 3. Find the source of infection, source of worms, defeat the mother of worms, eliminate potential threats, search the hospital, you know, everything that helps for each mission. You've then got recon cards, which include different item cards for specific missions, and then just random ones. Like this one is unexpected company, which nearest monster immediately activates and targets you. Most of them are pretty nasty. Some of them help you. See, like ones with this icon are for specific missions. There's quite a lot. There is quite a lot. The first mission of the first act, there are 2 specific ones, and then you get 10 random ones. In the middle we have all the twist cards for the 3 different families of monsters. The Children of Typhon, the Infested. If I move the camera over, will it stop shining? Sort of. The Infested, and also the Fetch. And they're all meant to be evil. And then you've got the focus cards, which are special abilities that remain active for the character. So you've got the leader ones, you've got the marksman ones, you've got the close combat ones, and you've got the demolition ones. You've also got the lucky coin, which I don't know if at retail is metal, but for Kickstarter battle backers is. I don't know if it's a proper coin from the 40s, but looks pretty nice. As you can see, it says Liberty around the side, and it says In God We Trust, and it's a 1940 coin. So that's heads, that's tails. When it's tails, bad things happen. And then, oh, some more cards. We've got a card for each of the characters, which essentially are just showing you what players, what character. And then we've got the specialist cards, which give the abilities of the specialists. Yeah, we've got 2 leader cards, which is pointless for now because there's only 1 leader deck, or 1 of each character deck, should I say. And then we've got the monster cards for each of the factions, the monster families. Corrupted Animal, Corrupted Human, Cupbearer, Bone Fetch, Skin Fetch, Harvester, all the way around, Consumed Bait Bag, Mother of Worms, and Bait Bag. We've also got a load of tokens for different missions, completing objectives, spawn points, starting location, end location. There's 12 spawn tokens because there's always 12 spawn points in the game. It's random spawning, so you won't know where all the enemies are all the time. So just pull all this down. Just move this to one side and bring out this, which contains the, put it right way around, the Fire Team Zero logo and the miniatures and dice you'll be playing with, which it's kind of put in like Zombicide, where it's all in trays, not just one tray. Two trays. Now these are all the Minions Elites. Just move the camera a little bit. These are all the Minions Elites heroes and dice. So if I just show you, none of these are painted. So if you want them painted, you'll have to undercoat them. This is a bone fetch. As you can see, the detail's very good, very crisp. It's like a weird skeleton thing on fire. And you get 8 of them because they're minions. Corrupted animal. And these are minions as well, so you get 8 of these. I've undercoated some of these in white, which I may need to go over again. The plastic's a bit soft in places, which isn't too bad. Doesn't feel like it'll break anytime soon, or at all, but it's just something to note. That like these legs, a bit soft. Here's an unpainted one. I mean, just look at this. What is it? And as their minions, get 8 of them. Now these are painted. These are consumed bait bags, and as they're elites, you get 4 of these. Sorry. He's done like a camo effect on the coat, which is really nice. These are really tough sort of things. So as the elites, you get 4 of these, and in this tray you get the psychic specialist. Pretty good detail. And then you can see he's got a load of pockets to put stuff in, a satchel and whatnot. I think you can see an outline of a moustache on his face. And the psychic specialist has also got a different sort of base to the rest of them. Most of them's got round bases. The psychic specialist hasn't. And then the dice. The dice that are used to attack, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. So you've got 3 grenade symbols, 2 fists and a bullet, 2 bullets and a fist, grenade bullet and a fist, another bullet and a fist. How many of each size there are? There's two sides with 2 bullets and a fist. There's a side with 2 fists and a bullet. There's a side with 2 grenades and a fist. There's a side with a grenade, bullet and a fist. And there's a side with 3 grenades on it. There's also a yellow, a yellow D12, which doesn't really matter if you lose this, because it's a D12. If you've got any more, great. They're easy enough to buy, they're pretty cheap. And also the monster dice, which you roll when the monsters activate. You've got the monster ability icon, and then you've got this icon which allows them to move 1 space further, and you've got a blank which usually does nothing, but sometimes it can do other things, as I just dropped the D20 on the table like a buffoon. So next we have the bait bag, which is also painted, and because it's a minion, you get 8 of these. And the skin fetch, which is an elite, so you get 4 of these. That's meant to be a hook of sorts. So again, it's fairly bendy, fairly soft, but I really don't think it'll break. I mean, you can really get the detail of the bones and the whatnot. It really looks like a mishmash of different creatures. I mean, that head. Then we have the corrupted human, which is an elite, so you get 4 of these. And then some bit. This isn't really that soft, slightly bendy, but it's highly doubtful, unless you really want to destroy them, they're not gonna break that easily, if at all. So you can drop them about and it's highly doubtful they'll break. So then we've got the heroes. We've got the demo, throwing a grenade, and as you can see, he hasn't got a mouth, because he's got like a balaclava sort of thing on. He's got a load of pockets, some more grenades, some med packs, a pistol and such like, and also a hat, a helmet should I say. Then the marksman miniature, who's got a M1 Grant, I think it's called. I think that's what he's got. He's also got a revolver as well, just for a bit of melee, or close up and personal. Then we've got the female leader, which the front of gun slightly droopy, but because of what it is, you can probably soak it in warm or hot water. She's got like a submachine gun and a pistol holstered. There will be more heroes to come out. I don't know if there's going to be more hero decks, but that remains to be seen at the present. So this is the close combat with like a gas mask, backpack, 2 knives and like a hoodie. He's meant to be obviously stealthy in close combat, stabby, and some pistols for melee. And the main leader with a shotgun, a belt of ammunition or something else. He's wearing a coat, boots. Very well detailed. I've got to say, miniatures nowadays in the last 3-4 years have been amazing for board games. It was a case, if you played the Age of Mythology board game, you'll know the miniatures of that game aren't really that great. Compared to games now, they've vastly improved. This is the Occult Specialist. I'm sure you've seen, if you remember the Indiana Jones film where that German doctor's got his hand out and it's burnt. He's kind of like holding a sigil out, something like that, and his base is square. The 2 specialist bases, the only bases that are different. Right, so that's nearly all of them, apart from the 3 bosses of each of the factions. So starting with the Cupbearer, you get 1 of each. He's just a nasty big bugger, and the bases are detailed. So if I'll just get a hero just to compare it, he's a big bugger. Oh, he's a big bugger. So here is the harvester of bones. That hand's slightly bendy, but very ever so slightly. He's like on fire but made of bones. Like a load of screaming skulls around him. Very nice looking. So if I just get a hero, just to compare him, again, very big, very evil looking. And finally we have the Mother of Worms, which has been painted. You are not ready for this. I mean, it's coming up a bit brighter on camera, but good God. When the bloke who was painting this for me asked me how I wanted it doing, I said, teabag colour. And then when he gave it me back, he said, is that teabag enough for you? Oh God, yes. So if I just get a hero, again, absolutely huge. So they're the miniatures that you'll get in the game. You get, oh, really important, you also get a bit of paper just to separate the layers with the minions and the elites and the heroes. Always important to show everything off in a review, so I've been told, apparently. So yeah, Fireteam Zero is kind of like Gears of War board game in a sort of way. You use the deck of each of the heroes to attack and defend yourself, so depending on the amount of damage the monsters hit you with will determine how many cards you have to discard. So say if a monster does 3 damage, you'd have to discard 3 cards from your hand. Bearing in mind you have a hand of 5, and you can and some cards you can double up to effectively get more dice. You have to manage the risk reward system out of it. Everything about this game is highly done. This game was on Kickstarter from mid 2013 and should have been out well, about December time 2014. But now that I've got it, I can say without a shadow of a doubt this is a superb game. Maybe a bit too simple for some, but the fact is it is very brutal if you don't watch what you're doing and if you've got a party that don't work together. I would highly recommend it. You can play it by yourself if you want. Just take 2 heroes, or take all 4 if you want. There are more heroes to come out, more enemies and monster types, more missions, multiple faction games, so you could see an 8-player game perhaps. Not really sure, but you know, 1 to 2 hours, which, you know, for this sort of game is about right. On a score of 1 to 10, I'd say it's a 9.5 out of 10. Reason it's slightly off is because of the rule book. Should have had a few more pages for describing things, but once you've figured out what stuff does, easy. Most of the time you will not need to refer back to the rule book. You'll just get it pretty easily. The fact it comes with a soundtrack really harks back to the last night on Earth sort of game. But with the soundtrack to that, I felt with that was a bit hit and miss. With this, it works. It it goes for the aesthetic of action and horror tactic sort of thing, and it works with the horror effect. I mean, just with the monsters alone. But if you listen to what's being said in the briefing and the action reports, it's top notch. So yeah, that's my overall review of the game, of the basic set. Highly recommend it. If you're in America and you're into board games, definitely get it. If you're not in America and you're worrying about shipping costs, I don't blame you, but if you're willing to part with the money, do so, because it is a fantastic game. Could not recommend it highly enough. I'll do a few more videos showing off the different cards and whatnot, but for now, goodbye.